Hello, everyone, and welcome to Breathe Motivation. My name's Anthony Hester. I'm your host for this show. So glad to join you this week. To all you new listeners, I'm glad you have found our podcast. To all you existing listeners, so glad for you guys to join us again. I really greatly appreciate that. So let's recap last week. So last week we talked about having big picture thinking. So you broaden your thoughts and you create this world that you want to live in and be the best that you can be within it, right? You've got to be able to create this picture of your future and be able to decide that you're going to run and make it happen. So I think it is very important for us to continue to do that and continue to really focus on what we want. A lot of the times when we go into life, we don't really chase really what we want. We just kind of sit back and watch what's going on and hope that things kind of fall in our lap. But it's not going to happen unless you take action. So it's very important for you to take action. So that's where it's going to lead us to today's topic. So we're going to make some bets. That's right. So one of my favorite things to do, and I don't know why it's one of my favorite things, I guess when I think about it, I love to go to the casino, right? And there's so many things that we can bet on in our life. So let's start off with the definition. So bet. So it's a risk something, usually a sum of money against someone else's on the basis of the outcome of a future event, such as the result of a race or game, or in this place, I guess a slot machine is a game, right? So when I look at, going to the casino, or, there's so many other things that I can think of that are kind of the same thing. So investing in the stock market, or what else is there that kind of, you're placing bets, pretty much just throwing stuff in there, hoping that it sticks. And, the lottery, right? We all buy lottery tickets when it gets to like $1 billion. And we're so excited because we have a chance to make all of this money and all of a sudden have this life that we've always wanted, right? We're one click of a button away. We are one stock buying purchase away, or we're one lottery ticket away from living the life that we've always wanted to live. And I thought it was funny. And I was sitting this week and I've got this B2B job and it is hard. I'm always getting rejected. And, you start to it starts to wear on you after a while. Rejection is one of the toughest things that we ever have to face. And I think a lot of times when it comes down to that rejection, you've just got to be able to push through it. And no matter how much rejection you're going to get, you've just got to continue to push and, know that, hey, the more rejection I take, the more likely I am to get a yes, right? So when it comes down to it, you've got to be able to make a bet, right? So I can either place a bet on, getting more rejection, or going home, right? Or doing stuff that isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. So if I'm at work, if I get rejected, I got to continue to take that rejection because I know at some point I'm going to get a sale, right? And then if I don't work, guess what? I'm not going to make any sales either. So you can either place a bet on, doing all the right things and taking the rejection and knowing that you're going to get a sale, or you could do the opposite and just kind of sit back and wait and hope that somebody calls you. Hey, I left all these business cards. Like I left 100 something business cards out there. Somebody's going to call me. And you could wait all day. You could wait all year and nobody calls you, right? So that's one of the craziest things that I look at. And as I was sitting there thinking, I always sit there thinking when I get a bunch of rejection, I'm like, what do I got to continue to push on. But I sat down and I thought about, betting, right? I've got to be able to bet on myself in order to be successful. And I think that's what a lot of people tend not to do is you guys don't bet on yourself. You guys sit back and you relax and you watch in the stands and hope that something happens, right? The biggest thing for us to be successful is taking action. But one of the biggest things that I think most of us can do is begin to bet on ourselves. As I sit back and I look at my age, right? I turned 30 in November. And that was one of those things I was always scared of. I'm turning 30, I'm getting older. And as I thought about it, I was like, man, I'm really young still. And I'm still just learning, all of these things throughout life. You're going to continue to learn life lessons, but I've really still got a lot of life to live, God willing, right? It's important for us to understand that we have as much time as we want to continue to, focus on ourselves, right? And continue to push. A lot of us will sit back and just coast by and hope that great things will happen. So that's why a lot of people do play the lottery, or they go to the casino, or, place their money in investments, right? And they're hoping for this quick fix of this life that they could change, right? Or that their life's going to change overnight. I know I've done it myself. There's times where I get very imaginative when I go to the casino. I'm like, man, I'm going to win $10,000. That would change, my life at least right now for the time being, right? I can pay, some bills, or I can go get some cool stuff with that $10,000, and it feels all good and fine. And it's great to imagine that, right? It releases endorphins. You have this idea that, hey, I could potentially win. But I think in life, we've got to be able to invest in ourselves, and we've got to be able to take bets on ourselves. When we sit back and we're complacent in life, we start to, get depressed. We start to get angry. We start to question ourselves. And one of the biggest things that most people live with is regret, right? There's so many things that we choose not to do that we're going to eventually end up regretting it because we didn't take a chance or bet on ourselves. And I realized, throughout, the last couple of years, I've really got to be able to step outside of my comfort zone, and I've got to be willing to understand that I can be successful, right? Success is available to all of us today, right? We all determine our success each day. And that's what we've got to do. When you bet on yourself, you start to find that success. You start to feel this confidence. You start to feel this idea, right? The only thing that that you can win, right? If I put money in a casino or, a lottery ticket or an investment, that could go sideways at any point, right? I could lose $200 like nothing, right? But I know that if I invest in myself and I invest in my learning, I invest in my, my productivity, I invest in who I am as a person, I know that I'm going to find success, and it's going to lead to further success. So let me ask you this question. Why are you not betting on yourself right now? Right? Why are you not betting on yourself right now? I'd ask myself that this week. Why are you not betting on yourself? Why do you allow fear to overcome you? Right? There's so many things that I fear, right? We fear and it's, taking risks. Taking risks are scary, right? Risks are scary. But we're willing to, risk money that we make and hard-earned money that we make for that chance to live the life that we've always wanted by winning the lottery or winning a big amount in the casino. So why are you willing to invest in that, but not invest in your success today? And I had to ask myself that. And I had to ask myself, what is my thought process behind all of this? Where am I getting to where, it just doesn't make any sense of where I'm at and how I'm going, right? It's crazy. And I think a lot of us go through that. We don't have this vision of ourselves that we're confident people, right? How many of you guys woke up this morning and said, hey, I'm confident as hell. I can go out there and do anything that I want. If you do that, great. But if you don't, you've got to start asking yourself that. Start believing in yourself. Start believing in the investment within yourself that you're going to make things happen. And the only way for things to happen is to take action in the goals and the dreams that you have. And bet on yourself. You're the only commodity that you can be successful in, right? There are tons of things that you can invest in. You can invest in other people, but guess what? It's very hard to change other people. I've yet to change one person, right? That change starts within somebody or yourself, right? I can't change anybody. I can't change anybody's thoughts. I can give them advice. I can give them opinions, but until they decide to make that change in their mind, it's never going to change. So I want to ask you, what are you going to do to change your life? What are you doing right now that's going to change the life to the life that you want to live? Because a lot of us sit back and say, man, I just turned 30. I don't have a lot of time left, right? That's BS. We all know it's BS. We can make as many excuses as we want. And it all comes down to what you feed, whether you feed the belief that you can be successful at whatever age you are. So we have listeners that are anywhere from 18 to I've seen as far as 65. And if you're 65 years old and living and have great health and all these things are going good for you, guess what? Great things can still happen for you and you can find success in your life. And if you're 18 just getting started, guess what? The world's yours. And I say this to all of you guys, no matter what your age is, no matter what your education background is, no matter what your career looks like now, the world is yours. The investment that you make within yourself today and that success that you want to find is there for your taking if you decide to choose to take it. So if you're not happy with the current position of what you're in, do things to change it. The only way to find success is to change. So continue to, do great things, and great things will happen. It's momentum. You catch this momentum, right? That's when I look at in sports, and I look in all these great things. You catch a heater at the casino, right? So the machine's rolling and rolling and rolling, and you're getting all this money back, right? At some point, you got to be able to say, hey, great, I got this money. Let's move on, right? Continue to invest in yourself, and you'll continue to see the success grow and grow and grow, right? You've got to have a vision and a belief within yourself, right? I always say you've got to be your biggest fan. You have got to be the biggest fan of you, right? If you're not a fan of yourself, it's hard to see that fans around you elsewhere, right? You've got to be a fan of yourself. You got to be your biggest fan. You've got to have this big belief that anything that you want to accomplish, you can. And it might sound crazy, and it might be fearful. You might be fearful of that decision, right? But you've got to be able to invest in yourself and bet on yourself. You have the tools, you have the knowledge. And if you don't, you can ask for help. And there's so many different things that you can do to find that success. So you've got to continue to do that. You've got to continue to push through all of the big fears that you have. That fear of, what is this person going to think? What are my family going to think? What is my friends going to think? It doesn't matter what they think. What it matters is that you can bet on yourself and find success today. That's all that matters. You can't be fearful of what other people think of you. I went through years and years of that, and there's times where that sneaks right back in. But I have to say, hey, why do I feel like that? Why do I feel like I got to impress other people? Why do I got to live this life that's not the life that I want to live? Right? How many of you guys are living a life that somebody else is choosing for you? Whether it's your government, whether it's your family, whether it's your friends, you're trying to impress all these people, and the only person you should be impressing is yourself. And guess what? Other people are going to embrace you because they feel that confidence from you. You are your true natural self. You're not wearing that mask. You take the mask off and you are who you are. My name's Anthony Hesser, and I am this person, right? And I'm great, and I'm going to be successful no matter what. So you can either jump on board and ride the success train with me, or if you don't value me as a person, then I've got to move on, right? So those are some changes you can make. And those are tough conversations that you might have to have with people. But just know your success is up to you. There is no limits to your success if you believe in it, right? You just got to continue to build that momentum. You've got to be able to build that belief. And you've got to make that bet on yourself. Bet on yourself and continue to bet on yourself. You're going to lose. You're going to get kicked in the face sometimes, right? There are going to be some terrible bad days that you're going to have. And I call those character building days, CBDs, right? You're going to build some character, and it's going to make you better. You're going to learn some lessons along the way. And guess what? Your life is going to look so much better because you invested in you. You invested in the life that you wanted to live. Not what other people told you to live, right? You're going to take your talents to South Beach, just like LeBron did, right? LeBron James, went to Miami and was criticized for leaving his hometown, right? But he said, hey, I've got to go and do what I've got to do for me. He took a bet. He betted on himself. And guess what? He won some championships. And what did he do? He returned to Cleveland and won another championship, right? I don't know if any of you guys are basketball fans, not a huge basketball fan, but he took a bet on himself and it paid off, right? So you've got to be able to do what you want to do and just know that your bet will pay off. If you take the actions and this, for success and invest in yourself, it's going to pay off. Live the life that you want to live and be happy with what you got. And continue to thrive and continue to learn and continue to grow and have the confidence to be able to do the things that you want to do. I promise you, you will find success. And there will be people that are going to root you on and they're going to be your fans. But again, you've got to be your biggest fan and have the biggest belief within yourself that you can overcome anything. So I'm going to leave you with this quote. You must always be prepared to place a bet on yourself in your future by heading in a direction that others seem to fear. And that's Robert Greene. So go out there, make yourself your own casino or your own stock market or your own lottery and bet on yourself. Pay it forward to yourself and make great things happen and find success within you. And when you do that and you have that belief, this big dumb belief within yourself, you're going to see great things continue to happen around you. But don't waste any more time fearing anything. Fearing the thoughts of other people, the judgments of other people. Whatever you fear, fear, the loss of time, or, you fear, the biggest thing that I look at and I spent a lot of time doing was worrying about things, the what ifs of life. And when you figure out that the what ifs in life, you're worrying more about that instead of taking time to find that success, guess what? You could have been a lot more successful ahead of time, right? So don't let worry distract you from your success. So follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Breathe Motivate. Like my page on Facebook, Breathe Motivation. Check out my website, breathemotivation.com. And if you guys want to reach out to me, I love hearing from you guys. And you can reach out to me by email at anthonyhester@breathemotivation.com. And as always, remember to breathe motivation and exhale success. And I will see you next week. Thanks.